Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. The heat here this week has been murderous, but we got to wing it, like a fighter. You take it and keep coming back. Anyway, today we have on our show with us none other than Monique. Your last name?
Ramos.
Monique Ramos. Monique Ramos is she's in charge. She's a supervisor for the amateur USA boxing here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And she has a son that's boxing, a 12-year-old boxing, and your 18-year-old's in the Air Force. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you have 3 younger ones.
Yes.
Okay, and your husband, does he train with you guys?
Yes, he was actually a boxer growing up. Gil Martinez was the one coaching him. And then he just became juniors coach. And that's how my son started becoming a boxer.
And you got hooked onto it?
Yep, we sure did.
You ever box yourself?
No, I've never have.
Never have?
Never have. I had to learn the sport for my son.
Uh-huh. So you're supporting your son all the time, and you got hooked onto it.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your son's career.
It's been very challenging for himself, trying to find himself in the boxing industry, but he's getting there. He's doing amazing. He's just learning as he goes and grows up.
How many fights does he have now?
16.
16. What's his record?
16. I believe it's 7-8.
7-8?
Yeah, 7-8.
Yeah, well, he's learning. He's young. He's still learning.
Oh yeah, he's
So little by little, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about your other son? You got a son in the Air Force. Can you tell us about that? How did that happen?
My son, he went into the Army.
Army.
He's in the Army right now. He's in Georgia, Forthmore. He just decided it's always something that he's wanted to do. And 1 year he was spending his time over here, and he was just like, Mom, I just want to sign up. I signed up. I said, well, that's your choice. Might as well just go for it.
He doesn't want to go into boxing?
No, it wasn't his thing.
No?
It's not. It wasn't something that he was looking into from the start. Mm-hmm. His mind has always been on becoming something different from us.
Okay, good.
So
yeah, he's focused. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he wants.
He will know what he wants. Now tell us a little bit about boxing here in Las Vegas. What's going on with boxing in Vegas these days?
We're doing more shows right now. We're getting more shows every month, trying to get our officials more trained into becoming refereeing. So I'm having training for them. Once a week is what I'm trying to go for. We just had one last week. Trying to train them to be the best that they can be, because our boxers deserve the most.
Okay, now how about for judging?
The judging, as well as we go. We have to shadow as we're in the shows. We do have clinics here in Nevada where we teach them the scoring criteria, but I feel like the judging's more on hand set for that.
Right. Yeah, it takes time to be a judge. You got to keep working the amateurs. And then, I did the amateurs for a while, not as long as I should have, because they wanted me to turn pro right away. But I recommend the judges do at least 3 to 5 years in the amateur before they even think of going pro. But amateurs is a good way to start. Some officials just want to be in the amateur. They don't want to go pro.
Oh, I'm one of them.
You want?
I'm one of them.
No, I was able to bring 2 individuals on to your program, a male and a female. And Tara Ballman is one of them.
Awesome.
She's from California. And you have Brian. Brian?
Yeah, Brian.
Brian, he's here from Las Vegas. He's a little older, but he loves boxing. He wanted to get into boxing. I got a call from Joe Brown, a dear friend of mine here, a politician, a lawyer here in Vegas. He called me and said, Joe, I got a friend of mine that wants to get into boxing. I said, Judge, can you help him out? I help him out. I said, sure. And I called up, and they said, he's working.
Yep.
How's he doing?
He hasn't been missing not one show.
How's he doing as a scoring judge?
He's doing awesome. He's amazing. He's one of the top 10s, I believe, out here in Vegas.
Okay, how about Tara Ballman? How's she doing?
She's good. I actually just met her this recent show for the tournament. She did amazing job. She did very well. It was just, she's such a good person too. I just loved meeting her.
Yeah, I met her with her husband and her daughter last year, and she told me how much she loved boxing. She lost it. I couldn't believe how much she loved it. She was a kid. I said, you know what? Maybe I can help you out when I get you in the amateurs. Before you know it, she applied for it. She went online and took the course, the test and everything. She passed, and she got a license.
Yeah.
And she's been working regularly, right?
Yes, she has been.
Yeah. So now tell me, how do you get into boxing? I mean, you got into boxing because I know your son was into it. Your husband was kind of involved with it. What made you go? I mean, sometimes it's kind of hard to believe a female like yourself, a mother of 5 kids,
Yes.
I get into boxing. How did that happen? I mean,
It's I'm a very honest person. I'm just going to tell you how it really happened.
yeah.
It was a discussion between my son and my husband where they were disagreeing on a couple of things of boxing. And one time I put in my 2 cents and they both turned around. They were all like, Mom, you don't know nothing about boxing. And I turned around. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to learn the sport. I'm going to be able to, say my piece when you guys are disagreeing. So now that we disagree on things, it's like, well, this and this is how we learned it. And now we're all into like an agreement. So it's more of a communication of a family thing coming together.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely enjoy it because now it's like I have a word in my family, in the household when they're arguing.
So it goes to show that no matter what, you always believe you can always do anything. Really, it was in your heart to get involved with it was your family.
Yeah.
And you saw something that you didn't like, and you got your 2 cents in, and it turned out for the best. It's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it sure is.
Because you're helping out the people out there besides your children, and now you're involved in the sport that's like down up your alley.
Yeah, it is. It's something where boxers come up to me now, and when they ask me questions, I love having an answer for them. Because before it'd be like, hey, your son boxes this and this, and then I'd be like, well, I don't know. But now it's like I have an answer for everybody now, and it's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, great. So your son's 12 years old. He's 7 and 8 as an amateur fighter.
Yes.
But he's young, he got a long ways to go.
Yes.
12 years old, he just started getting his feet wet into boxing. There's some fighters that had a terrible record, in the pros, and with like 30-some-odd losses, and end up being a world champion.
Yeah.
So it happens, It's a matter of what kind of training you take. You have under your wing, you have somebody who's a good trainer, get you in the right direction. Sometimes you got to lose some fights to learn.
Yeah.
Some individuals, they lose a couple of fights, they quit and say, this is not for me. But your son feels that that's for him. He got a career there.
He is. He has his coach Bullet, who's coaching him right now. So he's in good hands right now. But then he also has his father who knows coaching, where he can correct him step by step. And then he has his mom who pushes up and encourages him to become the best. So
And what weight class is he fighting?
he is right now. We just moved him up to 99.
99 pounds. Mm-hmm. So he's getting there. I remember when I turned pro, I was a bantamweight. A bantamweight, for you viewers out watching, a bantamweight was a 118 pounder. That's what I was when I turned pro. So, it was a lot of fun, but I didn't start until I was 15 years of age. And your son starting at the right age, he's still learning. Because it teaches a lot of discipline, a lot of confidence when you go in there as a boxer, and sometimes these kids need that. And these kids are blessed that they got a mother and father at home,
Yep.
So I didn't have that growing up. I was a single parent. My mother had 4 boys, and she did it by herself. And 2 of us became boxers, professionals. But boxing is a good way to keep yourself on the right track, keep yourself moving, going forward, and it keeps you out of trouble. A lot of kids these days, they with the gangs, they with the drinking, the drugs, and all that, and you don't seem to have that with your family. Your boys seem to be all on the right track.
I mean, it becomes something where you grow up the way you do that you don't want for your children.
Right.
And it's something where you make the change in that. It's something where you're like, my kids ain't gonna go through that. And I push my son to be, you have a choice. It's either you do something chess playing or you do boxing, and it was either or, but he loves boxing. He's had it since he was 3 years old, and he's been training since he was 8.
Really?
So he's always been, I want to do boxing.
Okay, we'll be right back after this brief commercial.
We are Integrity Solar America, a veteran-owned business and experts in solar energy. We'll give you honest advice and tell you if solar is right for your home. And we'll educate you on how the 30% federal tax credit really works. Integrity Solar can install your system with 0 down and no out-of-pocket costs. Visit integritysolarAmerica.com or call us at 1-800-988-1569. 1-800-988-1569. Are you interested in solar energy but concerned that it won't work for you? Your roof needs repairs. You might want to move. Your electricity bill isn't that high, or you're just not sure if you would qualify for incentives. Integrity Solar America is a veteran-owned business and your trusted source for solar. We'll educate you on solar with straight answers about the 30% federal tax credit and installation costs. Visit integritysolar.america.com or call us at 1-800-998-1569.
So now tell me, you as now supervisor for the USA Boxing here in Las Vegas, amateur boxing, what's on the horizon for your program? What do you see coming next?
Just to keep being more positive for the boxers, keep having more officials, keep them trained very well, so that way the more we get more boxers, the more we are able to open up more shows for them. As long as everything's such in a positive way, our boxers are more than to come to our shows. The majority of our boxers don't come to shows because it's an attendance where we lack because of all the bad blood. You know, we have too much rivals going on, coaches that aren't very well, how do I put it, very educated on not being so negative and being more positive. So I feel like as long as we all come together, the more we're able to become better for our boxers to have more shows.
So you think that getting a little more uniformity, harmony amongst the trainers out there, managers and whatnot? You don't have any professionals here yet, but your amateur fighters, there's a little animosity going on between the trainers, you think?
Yes.
And how can we better that?
For everybody to get along. As long as everybody's able to just worry about and focus about their boxers becoming better and just correcting them instead of always finding the blame on somebody else, I feel like it'd be better for everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's more of a lot of people, I just had this conversation, a lot of people don't understand that us officials are volunteers. They think we're getting paid for all this stuff. We're volunteers,
right.
You know, and it's not something where we're here to make your boxer better. If we see something, we're going to call it. We're going to make a choice at that moment. And instead of coaches being like, oh, we got robbed or something, it's how do we fix our boxers?
Right.
How do we get them better? And that's a lot of where the coaches lack on.
Yeah, well, I think that if coaches out there watching the individuals about volunteer, you would volunteer, I mean, you got a good heart to start off with. And you want to try to make the best for your fighters. Some of these young kids, they look up to these trainers as a father figure. Some of these kids come from broken homes. A lot of kids come from broken homes, and they need a father figure. And what do you want to have out there is somebody that can direct you the right way, with that love and attention, caring, and all that. And we need the more harmony amongst each other. Love one another,
Exactly.
Care for one another and help one another out.
Because either or, we're a boxing community. We're one team,
Right.
We gotta love each other and learn to support each other.
Right. And you have fighters that come from out of state. They come into Las Vegas to compete. What states do they come in? Like last week, you had some shows here last week. Where were the fighters from?
I believe somewhere from Utah, California, Hawaii was one of them, and just the locals.
Mm-hmm. How many local gyms are there in Las Vegas in the amateurs?
I believe it's like 32.
32 gyms.
Yeah,
That's 32. A lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot. So you got these kids on the right track, 32 gyms, that's good. I mean, it's we were lucky that we only had 10 gyms when I first got to Vegas, more like 10 gyms in Las Vegas. Now I got 32, that's a lot. In the last 30 years that I've been here.
Yeah.
But it's good to see these young kids get involved and stay active. Now, if you have any females in boxing with your program?
Officials?
No, female boxers.
Oh, boxers? Yeah, we do.
How many girls?
We have several. In juniors team, I believe we have like three.
Three?
But in other gyms, we have several.
Seven.
Yeah, we have several.
And how's the competition for the females?
It's getting there. It's picking up. Before it was just like maybe one female or some no females whatsoever in the shows. But now it's we're seeing at least 2 to 3 of them inside the shows.
I also noticed that you have some females, besides judges, you also have females referees as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shauna Green's one of them.
Yeah.
Olivia is an official for judging right now, but we're going to try to push her into becoming refereeing.
Referee, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not too many professional referees in the world, but there are some that back east in New York and some in California, and I believe some in Chicago. They're doing pretty good. They're coming up the ranks. Have you ever thought about being a referee or a
I
judge?
do. I've been training for about 2 years now. I just haven't been able to get up there just yet.
Yeah, as a referee or as a judge?
As a referee.
Yeah.
I do judging, but as a referee, I've always wanted to get in there. I've been training very hard for it. I just haven't pushed myself to that limit yet.
Right. Now your husband is in the restaurant business, and besides that, he got his spare time. He volunteers his time to help out with the boxing as well.
Yeah, he just
As a
became
trainer?
an official. No, he's a coach.
Coach,
Yeah, he's a coach for his son, but he just became an official as well.
a judge or a referee?
We're trying to train him for refereeing right now.
Yeah,
Yes, I need him to be a referee.
and that'd be amazing
Yeah.
to have the mother in charge of amateur boxing, the husband as a referee, the son as a fighter.
Yeah.
That's a nice combination you got there.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
We have a 6-year-old right now too, who's going to be a boxer. He's trained. We train him at home, little here and there.
6-year-old?
But he's 6 years old.
And he can move around. Huh?
Oh yeah, he can move. He loves the sport. He's gonna be a great boxer.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a great boxer.
But a lot of these great fighters, like Mike Tyson, it started when he was about 12 years old, and Julio Cesar Chavez, about 10 years old, Canelo Alvarez, and Cervantes Davis. A lot of guys, they started when they were young. I can tell you one that I know personally, Devin Haney. I met him when he was 10 years old up in Mesquite in the PAL tournament. I was watching him fight. I said, why? Come here after he fought. I said, come here, young man. Who's your trainer? He said, my dad. Bring him your dad over here. And I told his father, Bill. I said, Mr. Haney, your son is championship material. He was only 10 years old. When he was 20, he turned out to be WBC lightweight champion of the world, and look at him now. He made close to $50 million in his last fight that he lost to a guy, Ryan Garcia. He got dropped, but he lost a decision. And I think that, boxing is really, if it's meant for you to make it, you can make it. Some individuals don't have it.
Yeah.
No. Haney lost by technical knockout? He lost a decision with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia had him down a couple of times. Then
I think it was decision.
a decision.
Yeah, I think
Okay, well, Devin Haney, and they said that they're blaming Ryan Garcia for taking some kind of drugs, and they come out a second test. They said it was like 1 in a million. And he couldn't have no drugs in the system, but they're trying to blame, Ryan Garcia for enhancing drugs that maybe caused him to win. And so Devin Haney, and then they're going back and forth about that, and the media is jumping on there like crazy,
As always.
Yeah. But I like to see these fighters, like you said before, more harmony amongst the fighters. But I can understand, that they're looking at rematches. They're looking to maybe get a fight down the line. Maybe a couple of months down the line, they can have a rematch and make another $40, $50 million. It's all about money these days.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so what else do you have with boxing besides the amateur program? What do you think about professional, what's going on in the professional? You watching the professionals today?
It's I feel like it's so different from amateur boxing.
Yeah.
Like my whole son, for example, trains professionally with Bullet, but pro style, not really so much amateur style, because we're trying to get his career set going for the pro style. But when it comes down to amateur, he doesn't know sometimes where he switches off the banging to being able to be pro, the head movement and
To
everything.
be a boxer, you're supposed to be more like a slugger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a switch on and off. And I feel like it's just something where it's so different from amateur to pros. Different. The way you train. I feel like it's the way you train.
Yeah, well, it's trainers sometimes, you got to get a good trainer out there. Because some trainers have to be trained themselves. There's some trainers that don't know how to train on a professional level. There's a big difference when you got training amateurs and as you train professionals. And as a fighter coming up in the amateurs, it's it's a learning process. But then when you're ready to go pro, sometimes you got to change trainers to get a real good professional trainer, not just a trainer. It got to be. We're trying to see about getting trainers to be certified, because nowadays in the amateurs you got them. They're certifying the amateurs, but in the pros you don't have to be a certified trainer in the pros. And I'm trying to work that in so the professionals can have a certified trainer. You just want to have your fighter thrown into a ring with a trainer who doesn't know anything about boxing. He became a trainer because he applied for a license. They gave him a license. I like to see trainers get certified because you got fighters' lives in your hand. I think the professional trainer should be more qualified, learn more about the bodies of a fighter, knowing the safety and like you said, a fighter may not be feeling good, or a fighter passes out. You got to learn. In the amateur, they teach every program where you teach CPR. And the pros are not mandatory, you see. So we've got to make sure that in the pros, they learn how to do CPR, all kinds of training techniques to be more on a professional level. There's not enough safety in boxing when it comes to the pros. I see when there's sparring sessions and you have a fighter in the gym who's a 130-pounder, 126-pounder, fighting against a middleweight, 160-pounder. And I don't like that, Well, there's nobody else to spar with. Yeah, I know, but the 160-pounder can hurt a 126-pounder, And sometimes these kids, they get knocked out in training, and that's not good. You get knocked out by a heavier puncher, and then you got a fight coming up in a week or two. You're damaged goods already, and people got to be careful with that. You just can't just have your fighter go in there and fight, and you got knocked out last week during a sparring session. And this is something that we got to watch out for and make sure that the managers in the gyms, the owners of the gym, make sure that there's no hard training. Make sure you protect the fighters. I mean, it's good to do sparring, light sparring, and if you can't find a fighter your weight class to spar with, you get a heavier one, but the heavier one got to back off a little bit and just move around lightly without hurting the lighter fighter. But you need people around the gym to see that and correct individual trainers. Hey, wait a minute, your fighter is hitting too hard. He's a middleweight, mine's only a bantamweight, 118-pounder, So we gotta watch out for these trainers in the gym. That's why I said trainers, sometimes they got to be trained.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of the coaches lack off on, where they don't realize that that's their responsibility as a coach to keep the boxer safe even during sparring.
Exactly. That's so important. I mean, when I was boxing, I remember my trainer used to try to get us to spar with somebody close to our weight, 5 or 6 pounds difference. But when it comes to 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier than you, that's not safe in boxing.
Yeah.
You want to make sure these fighters have a good, clean career. You don't want to see these kids walking around on their heels when they get to 25, 30 years old. They don't even know where the hell they're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're taking too much punishment in the gym. Blows to the head is very serious. That's why a good trainer teaches you good defense, how to hit and don't get hit, move around. People don't like Floyd Mayweather because I said he runs and all does is move and move and move. He doesn't get hit. But you know what? That's the way to be trained. He was at the age that he's fought up into his 40s. He was able to fight because he never really got hurt. He never took serious blows to the head. But if he would have been taking hard blows to the head, if he would have been a banger, a slugger, his career would have been cut short. Maybe at 30 years old, he would have been finished. But at he's 40 years old, he was still going at it,
Yeah.
So a lot of trainers these days have to try to learn how to better defense for their fighters and than offense, because it is important for fighters not to get hurt in what sparring. It's a sport. You're in the hurt business, and boxing is you don't play boxing, as you well know. You know, you can play basketball, you can play baseball, football, soccer, you can play all that, but boxing, you don't play with that. You're in the hurt business.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we got to be careful how we train our fighters, have good trainers out there, making sure that they guide them in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my son all the time. You can't play boxing.
Right.
You know, it's something serious. You can get hurt, you can get injured.
Exactly.
And it's something that we teach them every day.
Exactly, and that's why I tell trainers out there that some trainers that are just starting out, they have to learn how the techniques of offense and defense. And you know, if your fighter is thin, tall, and slim, you don't try to make him a slugger because his body's not cut out for that. He's more cut out to be a boxer, tall, lanky, like Tommy Hearns. You know, tall guy, can move around, keep your jab going. But sometimes if you're going to make him a slugger to be throwing slugging punches, that's not his style. So a trainer got to know the difference. You can't train a tall, lanky fighter the same way you would a short, stocky fighter. You got different styles, so you got to know how to train them. Trying to each fighter in for their style.
Yes.
You know, for their build of the body that they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
We are Integrity Solar America, a veteran-owned business and experts in solar energy. We'll give you honest advice and tell you if solar is right for your home. And we'll educate you on how the 30% federal tax credit really works. Integrity Solar can install your system with zero down and no out-of-pocket cost. Visit integritysolar.america.com or call us at 1-800-988-1569. 1-800-988-1569. Are you interested in solar energy but concerned that it won't work for you? Your roof needs repairs. You might want to move. Your electricity bill isn't that high, or you're just not sure if you would qualify for incentives. Integrity Solar America is a veteran-owned business and your trusted source for solar. We'll educate you on solar with straight answers about the 30% federal tax credit and installation costs. Visit integritysolar.america.com or call us at 1-800-998-1569.
So what else you want to tell us about your amateur program?
If there's anybody out there who is interested in becoming an official, let me know. We need more officials out here. I'm willing to train you.
How can I reach you?
You can reach me on my phone number, or you can email me, or
What's the email?
my email is mramos boxing19@gmail.com. Or you can Facebook me or IG me. I'm available every day, and I can answer any of your questions.
And then when are your next shows coming up?
We have Richard Steele's July 13th and 14th.
Richard Steele's Boxing Club.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's on Cheyenne here in Las Vegas.
Yes, and it's July 13th and 14th. It's a 2-day show. It's not a tournament. And then we have July 26th, which is at the Westgate for Ramon show.
Okay, at the Westgate Hotel
Yes.
on Paradise, and that's July 26th?
July 26th.
26th. And what kind of tournament is that?
It's a 1-day event.
What day event?
Yeah, it's not a tournament.
By you winning in those type of fight, where do you go from there?
You win the experience, and you're able to just keep experiencing and learning yourself, learning to become better for yourself.
So it's just a learning experience. It's not a tournament. It's just a boxing event,
Yeah.
just to get more experience and learn how to weather the storm in the amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the female. You have any females fighting in these tournaments?
We just had one this past tournament. It was a really, really close match, but it was a great one. They made the tournament, is how I gotta say.
And how many did these girls weigh? How old were they?
I believe they were in bantam.
Bantamweight?
Yeah.
118 pounders?
I think they were 65 pounders. I'm not quite sure,
Oh,
to be honest with you.
Young little girls.
Yeah, they're They're not heavyweight. I just know that for a fact. I don't have it on top of my head.
Yeah.
But they did a good show.
So for young girls, they really can rock them in soccer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. They did good.
And then after that, you have what's for the fall? Anything happen in the fall?
Not quite sure what's happening in the fall. I know that in August we have the Masters on the 10th and the 11th.
Man, tell us about the Masters. People say what Masters? What is that? The seniors?
Mm-hmm. It's the seniors.
What age?
I believe it's 35 and over.
35 and over.
Yes.
Is there a top on that? Is there a cap?
No.
It's
a very interesting show. That's all I got to say.
Watching the Masters, you guys that want to be one day never made it, and now they're older. So I will take a shot at that. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Now, you guys have to be in good condition to be able to compete in their Masters, eh?
No.
You have to be in good condition. I think that they should be more
There's some that
careful.
are getting knocked down the first round within one punch, and it's interesting.
One time there was a tournament back in the days, back in Atlantic City. I recall back in the 80s, early 80s, before I moved up to Vegas. They had a strongman contest, and they all turned pro as fighters. And every fighter in that tournament, I mean, it was, I think, one fight. There was about 10 fights, and only one of them went 2 rounds. The rest were all one-round knockouts. And it's just amazing. You see some of these fighters, you know, you really have to be prepared for it. Boxing is not just for everybody. If you want to try to be a fighter, it's good to be a fighter, but learn some skills. If you're fighting the Masters or you're fighting the youth program, learn the basics. You got to learn the basics, move around, jab, right hand, left hook, move. You know, a lot of these guys go out there, all they do is throwing punches, wild punches, and you see a lot of that at the Masters. There's no skills there. These guys are want-to-be champions, and their dream was one day to be in the ring. They said, before I kick the bucket, I want to get in that ring and show the world I can fight. But most of them don't last 1 or 2 rounds. It's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to keep careful, keep an close eye on those fighters, because we have ringside doctors there at every event. We have ambulances there for the amateurs, mandatory. But we want to make sure that nobody takes unnecessary punishment during these tournaments.
Yeah, safety first.
Well, Monica, I want to thank you so much. Monica Ramos will be on the show today, and she came in to share some of her knowledge and wisdom of what's going on in the amateurs here in Las Vegas, and hopefully things get better and things start picking up in the next year or so.
Thank you for having me here.
Anything else? Give me your email again.
It's mramosboxing19@gmail.com.
Okay, so you want to be a judge, a referee. They're looking for volunteers, timekeepers, anything, glove man, anything to help out with the boxing is very much needed. We take care, my friends, take care. God bless, have a good weekend, and keep your guards up at all times. And remember, we're fair, but we're firm. Take care. Bye-bye.